The mind, see, you're not your mind. You're the one giving the mind life. You're not the body. You're the one giving the body life. And the mind is really innocent. It's an information processor. It's like a computer so that you can walk, talk, whatever. Where it becomes tricky is, well, not even tricky, but it's just all of these egoic beliefs that become the programming of the mind, and then that's how you see your reality around you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Mystic Gateway Podcast. I'm very honoured today to be joined by none other than Megan Rose. Megan, it's been a while. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm super honoured that you've agreed to come on. I mean, we did shows a few years ago with
Yeah.
Charnel, and we've not spoken for a while and things. So, how the heck have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been doing well, awesome. So just welcoming in the beautiful energies of yeah, everything to welcome in and my higher levels and yeah, I'm excited to connect with you and have fun.
Good, good. No, I'm very honoured. I'm very pleased you agreed to do it. But we were talking like what are we going to talk about? But it's like when we start, there's always a flow that comes. So we were just
Yeah.
talking like you're asking me sort of what my intention was with this whole podcast, and one of the things that's big on my heart is building bridges between people, community, because I think we're at a really, really crucial point in history where that as we know, the powers that were thrive off division. They thrive off creating chaos, and there's a lot of that going on. Particularly now in 2026, it's like something is. It's just like drama in the political world, the
Yeah.
disclosure world, and things like that. And I was just thinking, like, how do we handle that? Because like I'm really struggling, or not struggling, but I'm like distancing myself from the political discourse because it kind of sucks you in,
Hmm.
especially when you feel strongly about things. But I'm seeing a lot of people sort of like turn on who were once, say, Trump supporters turning on Trump, and it's like people don't know where they are anymore. So, what advice would you give to people at this time?
Yeah, see, well, the thing is it's humanity has decided to wake up, right? So, and waking up is not, I think I remember when I first started waking up and I thought it was like rainbows and unicorns. So
Mm.
it's gonna be like love and light and blah 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 and kumbaya and peaceful. And the thing is, it is, but it's not, see, because there's parts of us, parts of you, parts of me, where we've all bought into this egoic structure, the old paradigm, money, sex, power, greed. And so, in order to wake up, come back to the heart, welcome all of your aspects in, welcome all of your energy in back to yourself, all of that stuff that you believe, perceived about yourself has to die.
Right.
And that's what's happening with humanity on a large scale is a huge ego death of what you thought, who you thought you were, what you thought reality was, and everything outside of you is not that it's an illusion, but it's not real like you're real, it's not real like I'm real. We are pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness. Everything else is real because we're giving it energy, but it's not eternal like you or I. Does that make
It
sense?
does make a lot of sense. Yeah,
So
yeah.
everything that we don't want to create, that we're done with, we're taking our energy out of, and it's dying, and it looks messy on the outside. But the good thing is, you and I and everyone else, we're not dying. So
Right.
it's just the ego, it's just the old energy. So that's what I've been doing when I'm not on the internet, is letting everything that I'm done with, all of those old perceptions, belief systems that are no longer serving me, is letting them die. And it's not, yeah, it doesn't feel good for like the body, because all of these emotions are stored in the body, anxiety, fear. You can all, it all really comes down to one emotion, which is fear. And it doesn't feel good for the body to let that all come up and be released.
Mm, mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, um, obviously we want to see the planet restored. We want heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it, and it seems like everyone has a different idea of how that's going to happen, and surely not everyone can be right, or are they? Are they going to get what
Yeah.
they choose? I mean, is this an individual thing? Is this a collective thing? I genuinely believe, and I agree with you that certainly with everything that happened 2020, all that drama, was a choice point. It was like, what are you going to choose, humanity? And I truly believe that humanity has chosen the highest. But watching things unfold, it's like, I don't, why are certain things happening?
Mhm.
Is that kind of what you're saying, that like there's still stuff that needs to come up to be cleared?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's I mean, the thing is though, you don't have to be in it. You can watch it from the outside.
Mm,
So, but going back a little bit, it's so because you and I were talking, you were saying before, I don't remember if we started when we started recording, if we were discussing this in the beginning, but we were talking at one point about building bridges between communities.
right.
So what divides communities?
Egoic beliefs a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So because everybody, you may have heard this before, and it sounds kind of boring to the ego, it sounds boring to the mind, but everybody is part of the same source,
Mm,
but we're all unique aspects of the same source.
right.
We're equal, but we're not the same.
Mm,
So nobody is the chosen one where someone is like the divine, whatever, and we have to follow them and all of that. But I'm pure love, pure consciousness, my own golden stream of light. You're your own. Even it's even more than a golden stream of light, but there's really no words that do it justice. Everybody is pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness. What divides everyone is the belief systems about who you are in the world around you, the belief that you have to protect yourself, the belief that you are the body, the belief that you are the mind, the belief that you are your beliefs, the
mm,
belief what color your body is, where you're from, blah, blah, blah. All of that is the overlays.
mhm,
So, and in order for heaven on earth to manifest, which is it will, because humanity has decided we're done with the ego basically,
mm,
because that's what divides everyone. That's it doesn't prevent anyone from connecting heart to heart because we're the ones giving the power to the ego,
mm.
but that's what divides us. That's what's in between everybody and the physical. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does because I talk a lot about because we talk about like the awakening process and one of my things obviously as everyone most people know, I come from a very churched background and Christianity and whilst I've never lost my sense of union with God in and through Christ, that's my spiritual practice. Obviously I had to let go of a lot of the teachings I'd received my whole life, and that hurt, because I was attached to those. They defined who I was.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of, well, I think we're all going through that in our own individual way. Um, and there's some pitfalls. I mean, just without without going too much into it, it's even in the disclosure community, there are smear campaigns. There are you know there is division, there is fighting, there's people wanting to be like the top dog in disclosure and all this sort of stuff. And it's like it's the same hierarchy that I saw of arguments in the church and divisions in the church. Everyone wanted to be the top dog
Yeah.
and everyone at each other. And it's like where's the unity in this? Where's the common unity, the community in this? It's like it.
Yeah.
What have you got on that? I mean, you've had your fair share of negativity in the public eye. My
Yeah.
my experience wasn't
High
so public,
times.
thank goodness. Yeah, yeah, um,
I wouldn't have chosen it any other way because the thing is that's well, let's go back a little bit. Why do those things happen and what's really going on? So, because no one's ever really seeing things as they are or seeing dear ones, divine beings as they are. They're seeing their mom, their dad, they're seeing someone who abused them. See, I'll explain. So, you're pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness, so am I. But what's happened with humanity is, see, with the ego, it was like this little impulse in the brain. So basically to keep the body alive. So, don't step off a cliff. Don't walk out. I mean, there weren't cars at this time, but don't walk out in front of a car. Like it just a small impulse, like an urge, kind of like feeling if you were to feel hungry.
mhm,
Okay. But then humanity started to identify with it and perceive and believe that that urge is them and identify with the fear and filtering the love that you are through the mind and then the mind buying into this little bugger there.
mhm,
Okay. And then the mind being programmed, going into judgment and being programmed by all these beliefs, perceptions, traumas, dramas, and that's where we've been up until, well, just very recently.
right.
So the mind, see, you're not your mind, you're the one giving the mind life. You're not the body, you're the one giving the body life.
Mhm,
And the mind is really innocent. It's an information processor. It's like a computer so that you can walk, talk, whatever.
mhm,
Where it becomes tricky is, well, not even tricky, but it's just all of these egoic beliefs that become the programming of the mind. And then that's how you see your reality around you.
mhm.
Does that make
It
sense?
does a lot.
It,
Yeah.
and all of these past lifetimes, so and decisions made in childhood, like your mom wouldn't give you a candy bar and then you decided you weren't able to be loved. Like it could be something as simple as that. It's in the subconscious, it's in the mind, and then you see that and you project it outwards onto other people in your reality.
Mm,
Stuff from past lifetimes. So, for example, like maybe not necessarily you, but maybe someone really is afraid of water and they don't know why. They've never had like problems with water, never drowned in this lifetime. There's a piece of your consciousness stuck, not stuck, but it's something you gave energy to and therefore it is
mhm.
that is still living out that reality that it drowned. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So all of that, and it's like of course the body isn't there anymore because you left the body, but there's just this perception about yourself that you thought was true that is still there.
Right.
So then you come into this lifetime, you bring all of that with you to see, hey, can I transcend this? Is this who I am, or am I more than this? Am I the body, or am I bigger than this?
Mm,
Does
mm.
that make
It
sense?
does make
And
sense.
that's how everyone is seeing their reality around them until they decide. I say to look within. I mean, it sounds cheesy at this point, but if something or someone triggers you in your external reality, it's bringing up something within you, within the subconscious, where you've bought into that is no longer serving you, that's not in alignment with you or your higher levels, with love.
Right. Right.
So when people do smear campaigns or attack, I mean, listen, a lot of it is the third eye opens at some point. Okay, so dear ones may start to see images or whatever, or you can see like memories playing out kind of like a movie in your head. But that's just a kind of a mechanism of the brain. It's how the brain works. It doesn't mean that it's you or that all of a sudden you're enlightened now. I'll just put it simply that way. So it's what it is oftentimes is seeing different egoic aspects and continuing to buy into that and then projecting it onto other people.
Right.
So, and by when people attack others, they believe and perceive they are the good ones, that they are saving humanity, that they're upright and justified. For example, Hitler and his following believed that they were saving the world,
Right. Yep.
that their race is the best race, that they are the chosen ones, and that justified all of the killing they did, all of their actions, because they're enlightened, they're chosen by God, and they are the good ones, the upright and justified ones.
Hmm.
And that is the ego in a nutshell. And that's why you see all these different parties, the disclosure community, the New Age community, spiritual community, political, really just humanity. We can just put it all under that category where it's all of these egos who believe that they're the good ones.
Right. Right. So,
So,
yeah. So in that situation, so how do we? Because I've found in those things, this is where kind of hive-mindedness comes from. That there will be a message, a narrative, or a public figure or something like that, um, who kind of thinks they're a leader, they act like a leader, people start to follow them, and it creates like a hive mind. How do we maintain kind of unity, in your perspective, of course, in the midst of like the drama and the chaos? And how do you think we'll ever be at a point where we're not like this anymore, where we are truly like in a higher love consciousness and unity consciousness? Do you think that that's kind of where we're headed?
yeah, I know that's where we're headed. The
Right.
thing is, because it's not about getting everyone to think the same, act the same, and being unified from the mind.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So everyone's supposed to act like me, look like me, talk like me, and no one's supposed to trigger me or push my buttons, which you don't have buttons, I don't have buttons, but the ego has buttons. So 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 it's not about because that's again, I mean I just to use Hitler as an example because it's a really wonderful example that we have that most people know. It's a dramatic one, but they believe and perceive that when everyone thinks the way that they do, then everyone and everything will be peaceful, happy, and it will be heaven on earth.
Yeah. Right.
And that's what everybody you can see in the political views, the spiritual community, when everyone sees things the way that I do, then we'll all be happy and floating on cloud nine.
Mm.
And what it is it's trying to find your way home from the mind. So what those dear ones are looking for is you're not looking for everyone, well, maybe you are, but well, the creator doesn't need everyone to act the same, talk the same, walk the same. If that were the case, then we wouldn't all be so different.
Hmm.
So that's not coming from the creator, that's not coming from our higher levels, that's coming from the ego.
Right.
So in order to have Well, we already have unity, okay? But in order to experience a heart-to-heart connection with everyone and everything, it's about stepping out of those belief systems, stepping out of all of those judgments, and being the good one. That's an identity, that's a judgment. Stepping out of that, bringing all of your energy out of that and coming into the heart.
Hmm. Right.
And then those, and not everyone is going to evolve and transcend things at the same rate. Okay, so so everyone's doing it in their own time, wonderful, and you can go as fast or as slow as you're wanting to, right? If you're miserable, then why not make it, why not speed it up a little bit more, right? Or
Right.
if you're having fun playing where you're playing, then namaste. But what it is it's this feeling of loneliness, okay? People wanting unity because they feel alone, okay, deep down, or they feel like something is missing. And when everyone fits into my comfort zone, then I won't feel like something's missing. Then I won't feel so alone.
Right. Right.
So, and what do you think is missing? That feeling? Because loneliness is not the absence of somebody else's presence, right? You can be in a room full of, thousands of people and still feel alone.
Mm.
So what is that feeling? It's the absence of your own presence, the love, the light, the absence of your higher levels, not
That's
the
really good.
absence of anybody else's presence.
Mm.
So, and someone who emanates that or was an example of that is Christ, Sananda. He wasn't looking to change everyone's belief systems or get everyone to fit into his comfort zone.
Mm.
He just brought in his higher levels and married the rest of his higher levels with his lower levels, and then came from the heart.
Right.
So
Yeah.
transcended the lower levels of consciousness, the root chakra, sacral chakra, the solar plexus, money, sex, power, greed, and brought the love, the light that he was in there, and then opened his heart.
Hmm. That's amazing.
And
Yeah.
then he was himself. So not this Jesus Christ superstar or whatever whatever that is, but pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness. And that's why he could do perform miracles and stuff like that, or perceptively miracles to the ego, but it's really actually naturally how the creator works, okay, with
Mm.
energy and alchemy and all of that. But it wasn't about creating a new religion. That's what the rest of humanity did because they're understanding things through the mind and filtering everything through the mind instead of tuning into it from the heart.
Right. Right.
So he didn't try to change all of those, the religion or anything. He just shined his light, emanated his presence, and of course they crucified him. But and there were dear ones who didn't respond well, and it's because he challenged their egoic beliefs, those comfort zones that they were in.
Hmm.
So it's actually not about fitting into people's comfort zones and creating unity that way. It's actually about shining, being who you are, and poking holes in people's egos. And then more light, the love that they are, can come in. And that's how you light up the world. That's
Right.
why I said in the beginning or a few minutes ago or whenever, I wouldn't change it being the target of someone's smear campaign or anything, because that means that I'm poking holes in people's egos so
Hmm.
more light can come in.
That's
So I'm
amazing.
actually doing, and you are too, what you came here to do. And I don't know, I think it's funny, So so sometimes I hear stuff about myself and it's yeah, it's a laugh. So why not? Megan, she's a bitch. I hate that girl.
Oh
But that
dear. Yeah.
but see, that's just how egos are. They have to find a flaw, they have to judge. If they don't judge, then they don't exist. So egos always have to find something wrong. They always have to it works in polarities, okay? So you have the good one, the bad one, the right, the wrong, and that means something different to everyone's ego, but that's how the ego works. It has to find a judgment, otherwise it doesn't exist.
Right.
You and I and everybody else at the heart, the core, are neutral. We don't have a polarity. We're pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It just got me thinking recently. I asked a good friend of mine who is very has a big platform. They do a lot of stuff on their, on their own. And I asked him like, why don't you sort of come and be a part? Because they have a lot to offer, as far as I see, the disclosure community. They're not really in the disclosure community, but I said to them, well, why don't you come and sort of hang out and you've got a lot to give. And the response was, not a sniff I'd go in that community. I've seen what a mess it is. And I was like,
Yeah.
that showed me something. I was like, something's got to change here. Something's got to change. You know, I've said for quite a while now, if I was say if I had some amazing story, like, and I was going to blow the whistle, and I said, oh, let's go to the disclosure community, they'll listen to me. And I looked at it, I'd be like, no chance. You know what I mean? And I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, as a people group, it's like, how can we clean this up? How can we do better? And this is not a pointing the finger at anybody individually. It's just, I mean, I guess it's every community really. Like I say, my church background was exactly the same, and I guess it's everything that you're saying really, isn't it? It's just how do we set the example? I mean, how do we transcend that and create something that's not going to be a part of the division? Because this podcast is not going to get involved in division. Let me just put it that way. I believe that there is Christ in all, that we're all one, we're all the same. And I'm not interested in taking any sides or anything like that. But what could we possibly do as a people, like or as an individual, should I say, to promote kind of the oneness, the unity consciousness when we're being smeared?
See, the thing is, yeah, well, it's not from love. Okay, so there's love and then there's the egos. Okay. So in this, I mean, really any community is what it is it's mass consciousness. So it's a bunch of egos together. So they are projecting their energy outward into all these judgments, and it kind of creates like morphic fields. And that's why when you tune into something, if you tune into it from the mind, it might, like, dear ones might say, oh yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, when you tune into it, there's a lot of energy, like a lot of people are buying into it, but that doesn't mean it's a truth, the truth from the higher levels. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, but it starts individually, first of all. So why are you doing what you're doing? And yeah, how is this serving you? Because it first starts with you. So, and if the thing is, people, they can throw fruit, bananas, whatever, the keyboard warriors. What it actually is those dear ones, they are looking for love.
Right.
It sounds cheesy, but it's a really backwards, distorted way of someone asking or crying for help, but always feeling like they are rejected, like they don't fit in, and they feel alone in their misery. And so they want to make someone else miserable so they don't feel so alone.
Mm.
So, but the thing is, so if it happens to you, whatever, you go to work, someone's like, "Oh, Craig, I hate him, blah blah blah," or, "Yeah, Megan, she was such a bitch," or whatever. It's if, first of all, is that the truth? Is that the case? So asking yourself, is there any truth behind this? Was I coming from the heart? Is this about me at all?
Mm.
And 99.9% of the time, it's not about you. So what people perceive, what people believe what they say about you has absolutely nothing but nothing but nothing to do with you. They're trying to work out things with their parents,
Mm.
someone who's perceptively abused them in the past, and they perceive that by hurting you perceptively, I mean, you cannot be hurt, you're eternal, but they perceive that by hurting you, they're gonna get even with their abuser, and then they're gonna be on top, the upright and justified one again.
Mm. Right,
So
right.
it's an energy game, right? I'm the chosen one. No, you suck. I'm the chosen one. No, I'm better than you. No, I know more than you. Blah 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 blah. And it's an energy game. So what you can do is stop playing the energy game.
Mm.
Is to step out of it and ask your entourage, ask your guides, bring in your higher levels. Why does this bother me? So, or it really would bother the ego, but most dear ones perceive themselves to be the ego. So if it brings up, how you can tell is if it brings up an emotional reaction. So emotions are created in the mind. So anger, sadness, grief, even happiness is, I mean, happiness compared to the eternal creator, if you tune into it with me, happiness still has some density to it. It's a judgment. So, my car worked fine today and my coffee came out right, so now I'm happy. It's still this conditional thing that you've created for yourself in the mind.
Mhm.
So, but how you can tell if something triggers you or if there's something there is, does it create an emotional reaction? Right? So if someone calls you a bitch and then you just you just laugh or whatever, and there's nothing in the body, you don't feel anything, and then you just go about your day, then there's nothing there for you to take a look at, and it's just, oh, haha, whatever. But if it brings something up in within the body and there's something there, then you can, instead of reacting to that person, you can call in your entourage, call in your guides and say, hey, where did I buy into something that's not in alignment with me? What is this bringing up within my sub-psyche and within the body?
Mm.
And that's how you, working with your entourage, working with those dear ones who are watching you, guiding they're there to show you who you are, working with them, and then transcending all of those aspects of yourself that have bought into that energy game, money, sex, power, greed, old paradigm stuff. And
Mm.
then if each person does that, then yes, and they are. It's just how fast do you want to go and how well are you going to continue to hang on to stuff that doesn't serve you, then it's going to take longer. But then each person, one by one, stepping out of this, it's like a hive,
Mm.
stepping out of the hive and then walking their walk and talking their talk. And then that's how we bring in the new paradigm.
Right. Yeah, that's brought me to a good point. I said this on the last show I did with a guy called Alex Bloom, but recently, because I must do a lot of stuff in the night. I wake up with a lot of things on my mind, and I just put a post out. I just realised that a lot of people are processing current events on a global scale through old paradigms and timelines that don't exist anymore, and it's almost like it's recreating the old paradigm or the old timeline. And I
Yes.
guess how, I kind of want to say like we need to stop doing that, right? Things have shifted. Like the world is not the same. It is literally not the same world as just say 7 years ago. It's not the same world anymore. Things have changed so drastically, and they're seeing things like AI as a huge threat. Seeing everything that's going on politically. One of the we were talking when in the week when I was asking you like what should we talk about, and something that I asked like what should we talk about, and the thing that came through to me was healing of the nations. Now I don't know if that means anything to you, but to me that's a biblical term
Mhm.
that talks about the tree of life, which is unity consciousness. The leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations, and I'm just like on a larger scale, sometimes I feel so powerless. Like I can see this conceptually, but it's like then I see all the chaos, and it's like people are falling for the same traps over and over again. Now I can only be responsible for myself, obviously, but I want to see this highest timeline and this heaven on earth created. How do we not get embroiled in the mess? How do you think we transcend it and still create from that place of unity consciousness?
Instead of creating from unity consciousness, why don't we create from the heart? So, as ourselves, in ourselves, through ourselves, pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness, without any filters,
Hmm.
without any agenda, without any polarity. And you can have heaven on earth right here, right now. It just depends on how willing. It can be so rough. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. It can be so rough taking a look at the ego and letting the ego die. Okay. But that's how you get to the other side, the rest of yourself, and being healthy, whole, and complete within yourself. And then there is nothing missing, and you are one with everything already, just not one from the mind, because that's no fun, but one from the heart.
Right.
But what you were saying, because you were saying how people are reliving the past when they're looking at current events.
Hmm.
And the thing is because there's all of these lifetimes, okay? So if you were to look at the Akashic records, before you come in, you say, okay, these are, these lifetimes where not that there's any judgment, but I didn't transcend this, or I want to come in and transcend that, or whatever.
Okay.
So there's all of these lifetimes that everyone's had in the old paradigm, okay? And these past lives, not all of them, but many of them, we've bought into money, sex, power, greed, the matrix programming, what you should be, what you should look like, what men are, what women are, all of that stuff. Those past lifetimes, of course, the body is gone because you're here now. But if you gave energy to one of those belief systems, one of those traumas, maybe someone, whatever, murdered you in the past, and that is still there in your subconscious, in your energy field, and it's still there until you take a look at it, and you'll keep recreating the same thing over and over and over again until you take a look and ask the question, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Hmm.
So if you look at, yeah, current events, you'll know when you'll know because you will feel yourself and it will be it's wonderful. But when there's a neutral feeling, when you can look at all of that stuff going on outside in the external world and you feel neutral about it and it doesn't bring up any emotion. So, because everyone has had lifetimes where they, again, are the upright and justified ones, and they've been wronged by everyone around them. And then when you see that, or perceptively you project it outwards, and then, yeah, everyone's giving energy to it, right? And it's creating mass consciousness. It's creating the way that events happen, and we're creating the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
So how do we do something different is we, again, bring in our higher levels, so higher frequencies, higher tones of you. That's actually how the body, it's not that you become enlightened because you're already the light, but the body becomes enlightened, okay? Because it's full of your presence. And then when it's full of your presence, there's no room for disease and all of that. But bringing in your higher levels and asking your entourage, your guides, what's going on here? Show me where this has bothered me. Is it something I've bought into in the past? And likely it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're dissolving, we're collapsing all of that stuff, all of basically the matrix, really,
Hmm.
by taking our energy out of it. So whether it was something in a past lifetime or in this current live stream, taking our energy out of it one by one, and then that stuff, it all dissolves. What we perceive to be chaos, the judgment, the good versus evil story, it all dissolves.
Hmm.
And then where the heart opens, and then that's where we're experiencing each other and connecting heart to heart.
That's amazing. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I was just thinking then it's like one of it always used to be taught like, oh, you got to love your enemies, and it's like it's a really hard thing to do. But I guess if you apply what you're saying, it's actually not. The people that have wronged us, the people that have smeared us or whatever, you can actually learn to love them if you adopt this concept that you're talking about, right?
Yes, but it goes beyond adopting a concept because a concept is still from the mind.
Okay, right,
And learning to love someone, well, you are love. So why would you need to learn to love? It's still from the mind. Get it?
right.
So it's much more, what I'm talking about is not, oh yeah, they did all this and oh, but I love them, blah, blah, blah. And
Hmm, hmm.
it's actually really truly welcoming in the love that you are, feeling the love
Mm,
and how you do that, that's actually the key. So if someone perceptively wrongs you, taking a look at the judgment that you have of them and seeing where did I buy into this judgment, because see, the judgment that you have of others perceptively, it doesn't affect them, it's only affecting you.
mm,
It's only keeping you away from yourself.
right.
So when others judge you, it's not hurting you. They're actually keeping their higher levels away from them by
Mm,
putting walls up, by putting density up. Do you see?
I
And the
do.
same goes in vice versa. So it's a wonderful experience to have someone perceptively go against you because see, the thing is the creator from the higher levels doesn't work against itself.
Mm,
So it's the ego that is polarized that perceives everyone is against it or everyone is for it. That's where you get this good versus evil, whatever, I'm the good one, you're the bad one, I'm the chosen one stuff.
mhm.
So, but someone who perceptively goes against your ego is actually doing you a favor because then you can take a look at it and see, hey, where did I split myself off from myself? Where did I move away from myself? Where did I buy into something that's not me, that is no longer serving me?
Right,
So
right.
they're actually the ones that are doing you the biggest favor. But don't get me wrong, it's challenging to get to that place because it requires you to take full responsibility for yourself and no longer point the finger at them, right? So the whole those people are assholes and we're the good one, that hasn't been working out for humanity, has it?
No, no, it hasn't. You're right, and yeah,
And we don't want to convince ourselves. See, if you have a judgment, it's just in the mind. It's just a thought. It's just from the ego. It's not actually you. It's literally just in the mind.
mm,
That's it. So if it's there, has nothing to do with you. Let's just take a look at it. But let's not tell ourselves a story like, "Oh, I hate them, but it's okay, blah blah blah." We're not telling stories anymore. Let's actually put it out in front of us and take a look at it and see what it is.
mm,
And oftentimes it might be someone, maybe you were a warrior in a past lifetime and somebody killed all his men and he was just trying to protect his family, whatever, something like that that has a lot of emotional charge to it. And then you bring love into it, you bring light into it, and then it dissolves. And then more of the love, the light that you are, comes in and you expand.
right. Yeah.
Your presence expands.
Mm,
When you're giving all the energy to the ego, which humanity has done, then well, the love, the light that you are, how can it come in? When you're giving energy and taking in and making all this density, all these belief systems, and basically giving all your energy to it,
mm,
then
mm.
there's no room. That's why so many dear ones have health issues or whatever, all of that stuff, it creates blockages in your energy field.
Right, right. This is I was recently over the past year or so. I mean, the concept of soul contracts has come up, um, which I think ties into this. And for those that don't know, like this idea of a soul contract is, no matter what your belief system is, I do believe in pre-existence, that kind of thing. Some would call it past lives, I guess. There's many different ideas around it, but there's this concept that you agree with, make an agreement with someone else. Like, I need this experience in my life. Will you play, say, the counterpart? What do you think of that? Where I got that from was actually because I've researched a bit of Jewish Kabbalah, And they talk a lot about this, that if they say if you get a bad boss who treats you badly, or a spouse who abuses you, or a parent that's bad or something like that, that in the higher realms you agree to that contractually, and so one day that contract is fulfilled and there will be a severance almost. um, do you have an idea about that? Do you agree with that? Do you think that that happens?
Yes and no. See, not everything is set in stone.
Right.
So, like before you come in, you're with your entourage, your family, whatever, and you take a look at the Akashic records, what you're wanting to transcend, and then you decide, okay, I'm gonna choose this family, and or there's a choice of a few families, and you choose one. Which one would be the most challenging? What would be the best experience? Uh, and so of course you choose your parents,
Mm.
and there's an agreement that they bring you in. So you know going in, mom and dad's I don't the word contract, it's yeah, I will strike I don't want to use that word, but it's because nothing is ever really binding because you're the creator. Does that
Right.
make sense?
That does make sense, yeah.
So, but of course, you choose your parents. These dear ones are going to bring me in, and mom's ego has all these issues or whatever. Dad's ego is like this, and this it may be you're tuning into it really. This may be a possibility of what happens. This may be a possibility of what happens. So in that way, yes. And then what happens? I mean, it depends on when you come in. Are you buying into mom and dad's projections when they tell you? You are small and I am big and I am your God. Are you buying into it, or are you just staying neutral because you know who you are?
Right.
And then it's from your higher levels, you're creating experiences again from the subconscious, and bringing all of these situations to yourself to say, it's a question from your higher levels, are you done with this? So an abusive spouse, oftentimes too, what happens with that in romantic relationships is it's not necessarily a contract before you come in, but it's see, there's magnetics between I'll go back a little bit. So romantic relationships, most of the time, what they are is their hormones. Okay. So so because people perceive themselves to be the body has a hormonal response, especially in the beginning. And so that's the perception of what love is from the mind. It's
Mm.
in for humanity, at least for now, but it will change drastically. So, and then oftentimes it's someone that you've had past lives with, so they feel familiar. It's magnetics between the two of you, but it's not necessarily set in stone that that person is going to play a role for you, but it ends up being that you are yeah, trying to work stuff out from past lives and all of that. So, but I wouldn't say it's a contract in the way that it's set in stone. Does
Right,
that make
right,
sense?
yeah. Obviously, like you say, as we're going about life, it's I love the idea that we are constantly creating a timeline. Every choice from big to small is a new timeline. They say it's how many 30,000 decisions a day you make or something like that. Um, it changes everything constantly. Um, so that would make sense in that regard, that you choose. Um, you might see an attractive person, but like, actually, I'm going to go with that one. For example. So you've always got the element of choice, right?
Exactly. It's about feeling and tuning into it. So your body, you can use your body as an instrument. So is the body relaxed when this person is in front of me, or is it tensed up? So if it's relaxed, then you know it's in alignment with you, your higher levels, or if it's tensed up, then the ego is getting in the way, or there's something there, it's not in alignment with you. But you're always having a choice. So it's not nothing is ever set in stone because that person could play, the villain for you, or you could just tune into your higher levels and say thanks, but no thanks. I'm not playing this game anymore. And then you don't have to go through the hard way. But oftentimes we do choose the hard way because we're not conscious of what's going on to begin with.
Right. Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. So, just want to change gears a little bit here.
Oh, okay.
Just take it up a notch now because um, on a again on a nation to nation scale, there's a lot of stuff going on. But something I wanted to ask you was disclosure has taken a whole new um, arena in the public eye. There's been I don't know if you know the Age of Disclosure documentary. Have you heard of that?
Is that the Steven Spielberg one?
Oh, so
I
no,
don't.
he's releasing a film now this year. I think it's this June. But there was an Age of Disclosure documentary that had current Trump administration, like Marco Rubio was in it, and scientists basically saying we have alien crafts, and all the stuff that we wanted them to say years ago. Or a lot of it, not all of it. Um, have you been keeping tabs on what's happening with disclosure? I mean, do you have a perspective on where things are going to go, and how can we kind of unify in that at least that we all want to be on the same page? Because I even heard some people when that documentary came out were like, "Oh, we should have had more experiences on it. It wasn't enough and things like this." And I'm like, but do you see what's just happened? Like the current administration have admitted we have alien crafts. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's not good enough for people, is it?
Right. And I was like,
And
I was blown away. I was like, this is like, okay, it was like for us who have been into this topic for a while, it was like
yeah,
kindergarten. But
yeah.
this is now out there in the world. It was on Amazon and some people say, no, it's a planned negative disclosure and this sort of stuff. I'm like, but nobody can any longer deny a lot of the stuff we've been saying that we've been called crackpots over the years.
I like that name.
Crackpot.
So, yeah, well, see, it's not good enough, right? So, well, do you know why it's not good enough?
Go on, you say it.
Because people are trying to find their way home outside of themselves.
Right.
So because this is the idea of the disclosure community. So when the government comes out and says that aliens exist, which they pretty much already have, then there'll be peace and love and unity on planet Earth.
And that's not
Can you
happened.
and can you see and the thing is one because what it is it's again this victim, savior, villain. Can you see how that's disempowering? So when the government comes out and says this and they're transparent, then we'll all get along and we'll all be love and light and we'll somehow all be awakened. So it's again this savior complex. There's someone this is all the subconscious in the mind. There's someone outside of you that's gonna save humanity, and then everything's gonna be fine. The reason that it's not good enough for these dear ones is because they're looking for their higher levels.
Mm.
They're not looking, the ego is making it about the extraterrestrials,
Right.
okay?
Okay.
Because they're outside of us. They are perceptively more enlightened or more powerful, which they are pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness, just like you and I. Okay.
Hmm.
But the ego makes it about something outside of itself, but it's really everyone, these dear ones, they're looking for their higher levels, that missing piece that missing place and space that they feel within themselves, that their higher levels that they're not in what connected with them yet. Does
Okay.
that make
It
sense?
does, yeah.
So it's about it's again, so some people have integrated 100% of their higher levels into the body, some 70, some 30, some 10. Okay.
Mhm.
And it's about integrating you into the body, bringing the love here, bringing our higher levels, bringing the light here. And then that's where we get into 5D and all of that stuff. The extraterrestrials, the ones that are here to assist, know that very well. So, and they know they could appear to everyone on planet Earth and it wouldn't be good enough. And they have appeared to, there's contactees, they have contact or whatever.
Mhm.
Did those extraterrestrials fill the missing space and place within you? And if they did, then there wouldn't be all these ego games of I'm the chosen one and I'm better than you because you would be healthy, whole, and complete within yourself.
Right. Right.
So my ET contacts, I mean, they really, just taking the extraterrestrial part out of it, they are pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness, but they can't bring the light that I am here and merge my higher levels with me. Only I can do that. That's my
Right.
power.
Hmm.
So I'm the chosen one for myself, but I'm not the chosen one for everyone else. You're the chosen one for yourself,
Hmm.
but not the chosen one for everyone. No one has the power to join your higher levels with your lower levels and merge the rest of yourself into this reality.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah, and I think that's a really important message actually. That you know, say the battle for disclosure was won, and everything we wanted to happen happened. If we're not, as you say, pulling in our highest, it wouldn't serve us. I think is what you're saying. Or not.
Exactly.
All that would change is more people would know about what's going on,
Yeah.
and there has to be a consciousness shift here. And this is why I've said this before, but there has to be if it's a, disclosure isn't just about what governments are doing and extraterrestrial contact. Disclosure is who are we and what are we, and disclosing ourselves, right?
Exactly. That's where the power is.
Mm,
See, the good guys are the ones without polarizing it, the ones that are coming from a higher level of consciousness, they're not going to do us, and they couldn't anyways, even if they wanted to, do us the disservice of, well, taking credit for humanity's awakening.
mm,
They're there to walk side by side with us, but they can't, it's literally not possible for them to integrate your higher levels within you.
mm, mm,
So it's again with disclosure, yeah, the idea is there's gonna be this mass awakening and then people will stop being mean to me and my partner will love me again and my job won't suck anymore and all of this stuff. That's again coming from, and I have a lot of compassion for these dear ones, coming from the perspective that this is one of the big programmings from the mind that you are a victim and not everything is happening outside of you. And if you just change the entire world outside of you, then you wouldn't be a victim anymore, and then you would have power or whatever.
mm. But then I guess, like, obviously, the victim mentality, you would, if you don't heal that and cure that, then you will consistently create a situation where you are the victim. You know, I
And
guess
you're
that's what you're
creating a
saying.
villain too.
Right. Yeah. So someone will come in to
Yeah.
prove, yes, you're right, you are the victim. Yeah.
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 See, it's a game that we're playing with
Yeah. Yeah.
ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't have someone go against you if you know who you are, because nothing and nobody can go against you. You are the creator.
Right. Right.
It only goes against the ego, okay, and that part that, yeah, perceives that everything is happening around you and that you are powerless.
That's really important. That really important. Certainly
So,
for me as well. Sorry, carry on. Go on. Sorry.
well, one thing that came to mind too is it's this in the disclosure community, it's this loneliness, right? So these dear ones, they feel like they're disconnected from their entourage who are extraterrestrials or see if they're extraterrestrials, it's just really an aspect of them that is incarnated into a body on a different planet.
Hmm.
So let's take the body out of it and then that gets kind of rid of the extraterrestrial part because then it's pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's this perception that they're disconnected from home. They're disconnected from these dear ones that love them unconditionally. And if everyone believes in aliens, then they can come down and be with me and I'll be loved unconditionally.
Mm,
The thing is, you already are loved unconditionally. They're already there. The physical, it is real, but again, for lack of a better word, it is an illusion because you're not your body, you're not your mind. The more you transcend those belief systems and come out of the mind and into the heart, that's actually where disclosure is because then you'll feel your entourage, your family all around you.
mm,
That
mm.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And a question I guess I have is, I know a lot of people feel a very strong affection towards kind of like their team, their guides, whatever you want to call it, and you know they may talk to them a lot. I've seen that before, but like I think some people do have that feeling of abandonment.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say to people who have that sense, like why am I here? Why am I all alone? It's kind of what you're saying, the loneliness aspect, right?
It comes from, see, it comes from the walls, the bars people put around their heart, of course, not knowing what they're doing. But in childhood, oftentimes, in past lifetimes too, but it kind of starts in childhood, is this belief that you aren't worthy of love, or and trying to protect yourself even from love and putting a wall up because yeah, just this it a lot of parents, their love is conditional, okay, just because that's how egos are. So you have to get an A on the test or otherwise I don't love you, whatever the heck it is. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so those little kids, they put bars around their heart, and then the entourage, those that love them, how can they come in when you've put a wall up?
Mm,
Because they can't take the wall down for you, only you can do that.
right,
Does
right.
that make sense? So cutting yourself off, and even to go a step further, is putting a wall up between yourself and yourself because you are love. And that's where the loneliness feeling comes from because you're separating your, not, you can't actually separate yourself from who you are, but just stepping away from your higher levels,
Mm, mm,
the love that you are because you're afraid of getting hurt or whatever.
mm.
So
And I
all
get,
of those decisions.
yeah, a lot of people feel a sense of disconnection, and then they struggle to connect with people in, you know, other people around them and things. And I've seen that a lot too, and I've experienced it some myself. You know, it's like a sense of you just want to withdraw because you feel safer. You know, it's almost like it's hard to
Exactly.
connect with people. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you get, so you mentioned earlier the smear campaigns, or some people call them trolls, whatever. Those are dear ones who put walls up, put bars around their heart. They're afraid of getting hurt. And I'm gonna
Right.
hurt you so
Mm.
that you can't hurt me, that kind of thing.
That's very interesting. So,
Yeah.
okay, so say you are like a genuine like on the receiving end of someone's negativity. Okay, a smear campaign or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, how should we respond to that? Like, obviously, the natural reaction is you want to punch the lights out or something. You know, what I mean, that's the I guess you would call the egoic reaction. Um,
So yeah, that would be the ego.
mm,
So then we want to get the ego out of the way so that you can respond from the heart.
right, right.
Right?
And what would a
So,
response from the heart look like?
well, I mean, I suppose it depends if you what the situation was, it would be kind of like an individual thing, but just yeah, holding them in love, namaste, have a blast, and recognizing the love, the light that they are, and they're working through their traumas and dramas or whatever, but
Mm.
it has nothing but nothing to do with you. So why fight back? Why point the finger back and just, you know, thank you, but no thank you. I'm not playing the game.
And what about if the person who is being the I guess abuser in the situation, if there must be a point where you have to create like a boundary.
See, the thing is, boundaries are interesting because you're putting a wall up. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Hmm.
So, and if you know who you are, you know you're eternal, nothing can harm you. Why would you need to put a wall up?
Hmm. Right. Okay.
But you can, it's just about, and it's all energetically. This is
Mm.
all energy, right?
Hmm.
So, again, take the body because everyone's identified with the body so far. And that's a fun one. That's a fun one. That's where all this perception that someone can hurt you or whatever.
Hmm.
But just imagine a golden stream of light or a beam of light, right?
Hmm.
And someone, whatever, throws, yeah, a banana, fruits, veggies.
Hmm.
They might shoot a machine gun at you. They might, whatever, say, I mean, whatever, call you names. So it can't hurt you. Nothing, there's nothing for it to grasp onto. And when we put walls up, what it is we're trying to protect ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's where there's density there. So you're putting density, you're putting energy to it, and you're actually making it bigger. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Okay. Right. Right. Yeah, it does. It does.
But you can just, I mean, if someone says something, I mean, you could say, I mean, I've had this happen to me so many times. So yeah, of course, on the internet, but I mean, at the barn, my own family members, friends, whoever has said something about about me. So actually, I mean, but the thing is it's not about me. That's the important part, is it's actually they more often than not are talking about them. Well, they're really talking about themselves.
Hmm. Okay.
They're projecting what they don't want to see in themselves, they're projecting it onto you.
Mm.
Right? So you can see that like in the political game, the truther community, if you know, this person's a murderer, this person's this person's that, and I've watched it go on for years now, and it's at this point to what end? Because there's always, again, when you perceive yourself to be a victim, there's always going to be a villain, and it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So most of the time, yeah, been accused of stuff. Actually, recently with one of my dear friends, right? So it's important. The thing is it's not really it was not really me talking to my friend. Okay.
Mhm.
So again, people feel the need to protect themselves, and that's where the ego comes in. And then you're talking to an ego, you're not talking to that dear one.
Right.
So the love that they are has gone into the background, and the ego has come out. All of their judgments, their belief systems, who they perceive themselves to be, has come out to protect the love.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense when you look at it from a higher level, but this is what humanity has created. And they start throwing stones, whatever, and it's just okay, thank you, but no thank you. I only accept love and namaste. I'm gonna go ride my horse or walk my dog or whatever, and you let me know when my friend is back or when if you're ready to open up,
Right.
you know?
Right. And
So
do you think?
that's
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
one thing I want to mention too is it's coming from the heart does not mean you're a doormat, right? So someone, whatever, treats you some way, yeah, throws stones, does whatever. It doesn't mean that you cuddle up to them and be their best friend.
Mm.
So actually, quite the contrary. You just say, I'm not buying into your games, and I only accept love, and I am love.
Mm. Mm.
Namaste.
So I guess that would be a sort of boundary, like this. I'm accepting love, and that's it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, you could say it that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you think, like, with people that have hurt us in the past and all this kind of thing, at what point could you reconcile if there should be a reconciliation?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, because see the thing is if it were myself, I would tune into it from the heart. Okay? Because words don't always align with the feeling, because it doesn't matter the words, it's the energy behind it.
Yeah, yeah,
So is that person genuinely wanting to open up? Are they wanting to know more about how they can come back to the heart, how they can grow, how they can expand? They're taking responsibility for whatever they're themselves, and they want to know how you've gotten to where you are,
mm,
right? Or are they just, is it their ego that you're talking to? And you can feel it when you tune into it. Are you talking to their ego, which is just saying something because it wants something from you or wanting to play energy games again?
mm, mm.
So, and the more you're in alignment with yourself, the easier it is to feel into who's being authentic and who's not.
Right.
So, and for myself, I'm not interested in playing with egos. No, thank you.
Hmm. Right.
So,
Okay. No, it's good. Great answer. Because I think, you know, um, I would like to see, there's got to be some form of restoration, reconciliation, I mean, I've even heard, of some people in the disclosure world who have been very publicly smearing people, wanting to reconcile with the people that they've smeared, and it's like that's a beautiful concept, but like, is it a red flag? I don't know, um, and it's just we'll watch that with interest. But I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, like at all?
Yeah, I mean, the most important part is to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mm,
So making amends with people, that's wonderful, but what's more important is why were you doing what you were doing to begin with? What made you feel so small inside that you had to go out and try to put others down?
mm, mm,
That's way more important than making amends with anyone or anything. And also, yeah, the thing is, nobody has the power to hurt anyone. So even saying sorry, it's still this belief that you have power over others, or that your actions can affect others, or that you have the power to hurt people, basically,
mm, mm,
and that others have the power to hurt you.
right.
That's the thing. Everybody has played every role. So everyone's been the murderer, everyone's been the victim. If you look at all of the Akashic records or whatever, it's not just that you go in and you're always the good one and the hero and blah, blah, blah.
Mm,
So
mm,
everybody's played every role. Again, it's the egos. They feel upright and justified, right? So you killed these people to save these people and blah blah blah. It keeps going on and on and on. Everybody's played every role. So what is most important is, why did I buy into this to begin with?
mm.
And addressing that. And if you were to bring everybody's higher levels in front of you and apologize or ask for forgiveness, they would say there's nothing to forgive.
Mm.
You are forgiven, but there's nothing to forgive.
Interesting. Okay. Because you kind of disconnected from the what they did. As is that what you're saying?
Well, forgiveness comes from judgment, because that you have to, in order to forgive someone, you have to perceive that they did you wrong.
Oh,
And the creator does not judge.
mm.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess it goes back to what you were saying originally that the seeing that what happened to you was a manifestation of something in you. So technically, that in that perspective, they've not done anything to you. You've done it to yourself, and you've got to own that.
Well, yes, but yeah, even dissolving the storyline about it, even dissolving the ego identity about it,
Mhm.
they've only assisted you to come back to the heart.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and how could you be mad at them for playing a role for you, because you're on the other side, you've got your higher levels. So, in a sense, if there's a winner or a loser, you did win. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you transcended it, you transcended that lower level of consciousness. So, what is there to forgive? Does that make sense?
Oh man, I feel like I'm talking to like a Buddhist monk here or something. This is
Okay.
great. It's like this is because I love all the concepts of like detachment and from these sorts of things and how because I looked into Buddhism a while ago and how they don't resist these things. They just accept it and let it in and out. Basically, they let it flow through them. And I think that's really powerful moving forward. Like no grudges held or anything like that. And I hope that's a place you've got to as well. And that we all come to, is that it's just like the ultimate acceptance. I think they teach about that.
Exactly, yeah. See, because every experience you have is leading you back to yourself.
Mm,
That's why you don't have to change the world or wait for disclosure or any of that.
mm,
You've created every experience you've had is bringing you back to yourself. It's just, are you going to look at those experiences, look within, and
mm.
at your own life, and welcome and dissolve every judgment you have about yourself and those around you, and then welcome in your higher levels or keep doing what you're doing and keep looking outside of yourself and waiting for the
Mm,
world to change outside of you.
mm,
And that's where the even peace, acceptance, how does it feel to you in your body?
beautiful.
Like, so peace, acceptance, yeah, words can't really describe the feeling, but I prefer maybe fun,
Okay.
joy,
Mm,
excitement,
mhm.
because the creator doesn't know death, it doesn't know fear. So everything is fun. It's not fun to the ego. Don't get me wrong, it is really hard and challenging to address the ego. So it brings up all of the emotions and all of the feelings around it or their emotions. But yeah, it brings up all of that stuff and it's not pleasant for the body, for the ego or whatever, but to get to that place where you're healthy, whole and complete within yourself, well, what is more important?
The latter, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because this is great because for me, I've, when I started to, even since being younger, I've seen like, I've always felt like a victim of the system, like,
Mhm. Yeah.
the financial system is just rigged for the rich and, you have to sell your soul to go through the ranks of power and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I don't want any, like, why am I here? Why am I in this?
Yeah.
And that was the ultimate kind of victim mentality. Like, that is the slave mentality that kind of like is a program that we need to overcome, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's this, see, because it's all projected onto from the time you're young, from the time you get on the planet, from your parents or whatever. And at some point, you make a decision that that's true.
Mm.
And then because you are a creator, then it is not from a higher level, but it's again like you're creating your own video game. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I did a show with Tyler Koalo about simulation theory, so we talked about
Yeah.
this a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not real like it's real like you or I, but then that's how you see your reality
Mm,
and but not realizing you're the one that made it true for yourself.
mm, mm,
So you can't exist like money. Yeah, it's there, but it's a neutral feeling. There's no story about it and it doesn't have power over you.
mhm, mhm.
So it's just about going back. Where did I buy into this? Oftentimes it's dad's voice, oftentimes it's mom's voice, where they had all these beliefs about money and yeah, all of that stuff. And then you watch them and then you think, well, that must be true.
Right, right. Yeah, because it's funny actually, because you see it a lot. I assume it's the same in America as well. You see it a lot here that it's like people that live off benefits say it's become generational. Like
Hmm.
mum and dad probably fell on hard times, got dependent on benefits, and we're like in the third generation of people that don't work. They've never had a job, um, and they're just in the system, just existing with handouts from the government. And it's like I see that as such a trap. Like they're so much better than that.
Hmm.
And these, yeah, that's really important.
Exactly. Yeah, they come into those families to transcend it.
Right,
Right? And then you have the choice to either buy into what your parents bought into, and oftentimes we do, but you can always take your energy out of it and let the belief dissolve.
right, right,
That's why it's not about unity consciousness. Again, it's not about hanging on to our belief systems. It's actually about letting them go. And then comes the realization that we're all already connected, not from these belief systems in the mind, but from the heart.
right, right, right. No, I get that, and it's like this is like another level of the process and journey we're all in. I mean, we're all attached. I say we're all attached. I think many of us are attached to something to some degree, some campaign, some vision, some dream, and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, do you think we have not? How do you think we? How can I word this? How do you think we do what we're here to do? Because do you believe that we're all here like with an assignment, with a mission, and a purpose?
Yeah, yes. See, the thing is, if you have an assignment, a mission, or a purpose, it would be to emanate your higher levels, to
Okay.
be who you are, to shine your light.
Right.
And then that's how you're assisting humanity, just being who you are. So, like, do you have dogs?
I did, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you've had animals. So do they get up every day and they're like, what's my purpose?
Not that I'm aware of.
Exactly. So they just shine their light. They just are love, right? And it
Right.
lights up everybody in the household and everybody who sees them. And
Mm.
that's how they're assisting. They're just being who they are.
Right.
So it actually is that easy. You don't have to go out and save the world or do this or that. It's just like Sananda, just about shining, being the love, the light that you are. And the best way to do that is to take off all the filters, take off all the bars around your heart so that you are open and the heart opens and
Mhm.
then you're like the dogs and the animals.
Yeah, that works because I guess if there is like when you get to that point where you're just emanating your true self, everything else will just sort of be what as it's supposed to be, I guess. And
Exactly, and you're not trying to figure out like, oh, I've got to get this person elected and this has
mm,
to happen here and this country needs peace and you're not coming from a place of judgment and polarizing yourself.
mm,
You just are who you are. You are love and your higher levels, you're working with everyone and everything to bring about 5D, heaven on earth, whatever you want to call it,
mm.
but it's not from the mind where there's an agenda. It's just by being.
Right, right.
Because when you have an agenda or an opinion or whatever, you're just fighting fire with fire.
Mm, mm,
Does that
yeah.
make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I think, they say that resistance is the cause of all suffering. And it's almost as if like people find things to be resistant to, like life's a fight, and I'm like, quite frankly, I mean, I've reached 40 now, and I love a good fight, I love a good debate. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just
Yeah.
at the point now where I'm just like, I don't care anymore. I'm just not in that place. Like I used to love a good conspiracy, and don't get me wrong. I think that stuff's great and everything, but it's just for me personally. It's like it didn't serve my purpose. Being obsessed with that stuff, it did for a time because it got me to where I am today, and I appreciate that. But I feel the calling to something more, something deeper, and I think you're presenting that today. That there is a place where we kind of like just let it go, and there's a flow that happens with life. Then, like life becomes more of a flow and an effortless flow. And I looked into kind of Taoism many years ago and things when I was having my awakening. Like, what's even true anymore?
Mhm.
And they just live this lifestyle of just whatever will be, and whatever happens, I thank you for it, and I'm grateful. And um, I got a lot from that, but I can't. It's like amazing how you then I'll see a post on Facebook about the British Prime Minister putting people in jail for naughty words on the internet, and I'm like, I get into fight mode again. Do you know what I mean? It's like I always feel this pull back into it, and I'm like, I don't want that anymore.
Exactly, that's the ego pulling you back,
Mm,
right? So,
mm,
hey, Greg, remember you are small and you need to fight,
mm-hmm,
right? So it's all of the conglomerate of the ego. That's what a lot of people start to feel is this tug of war. And that's what you can feel like with if you've had friends or whatever, where you feel the love that they are, and then all of a sudden they change and they're different, or the ego comes out and
mm.
starts throwing fiery balls.
Yeah,
But
right.
but it is yeah, flowing in those. See, everyone's playing. The other part of it too is if you're super interested in politics or the conspiracy theories or whatever, that those dear ones are interested in it because they're getting something out of it.
Mm,
It's part of their awakening, it's part of how they're finding their way home.
yeah,
So who is anyone to say you shouldn't be interested in that, you shouldn't be
right.
doing that, and
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
should think the way that I do so we can all unify and blah blah blah.
Mm, mm.
Every dear one is exactly where they're supposed to be.
Mhm.
They're getting something out of doing what they're doing. Even people who are murdering or whatever, they're finding their way home. I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences for their actions or anything like that, but just to take the judgment out of that and see them as the creator that they are finding their way home.
Mm, mm,
So in a backwards kind of way, so they're following their ego, but that's a wonderful still way to find your way home, find out that you are pure love, pure energy, pure consciousness
mm, mm.
by experiencing what, well, basically, not that there's an opposite to it, but in, for lack of a better word, experiencing the opposite.
Right, right. And isn't it interesting in that scenario? Like, it's quite an extreme scenario, but people that are committed of a very serious crime, they're put in jail, say, in prison, and in prison, when they're taken out of that situation and put in this situation, they have like oh, like a moment where like, I don't want to do that stuff. Like, that's not me. And they
Mhm.
kind of like have this. I mean, I guess that's kind of the idea of it. Like, take them out of society so they can, just change. At least that should be the idea. And how many people have, I don't want to say an awakening, but just like a new awareness comes in that situation. And even people on death row are like, I'm just not that person anymore. You know what I mean? It's like,
It, exactly. And so when they commit the crime, see, it's this soft nudge. Hey, walk this way. Hey, it's not that your higher levels or your entourage would tell you what to do, but hey, wouldn't it be better if you walked over here? Wouldn't it be better if you put the knife down?
mm,
And giving you those soft nudges. The ego is loud, your entourage, your higher levels are, it's more of a quiet nudge.
gentle,
And
yeah.
they can feel that before the crime, all the way through the crime, and even after the crime. And then oftentimes what happens is it releases all of this energy that they had built up, all of this anger, whatever, all the ideas in their head. And then, yeah, it releases all this energy. And then they're feeling their presence again. And they say, oh my gosh, what have I done? That was not me.
Right, right. Yeah, that's really interesting. So, how would we summarize this now to just draw it to a close? We've been going for quite a while. I think we've got lost time now or something, missing
Yeah,
time.
it's been a long one.
um, but yeah, just to summarize, like, because obviously we need to come together as, yes, communities and things like that, but like, I guess humanity as a whole. Um, how do we kind of? I mean, it's not a short answer, but like, how can we achieve that where we can relate to people? Like in the UK, there's a big, not I nearly said a problem, not a problem, but there's a big issue around kind of Islam and things like that. And whenever I talk to people who are Muslims and stuff, they're beautiful people. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, but there's this social incoherence there, and it's like, how can we achieve um, whatever you want to call it? I guess oneness or just peace. That's what we need is peace between ourselves.
Piece where I was going with that question a few minutes ago when I was asking you about peace. See, because the creator doesn't see chaos, so how can there be peace?
Okay.
So everything is happening for the best and highest good. See, your natural state, it's really joy, love, expansiveness. Isn't that more fun than just having peace where you're playing a harp or whatever?
Hmm.
So, but yeah, the thing is, so Muslim, Christian, whoever, these are belief systems.
Hmm.
So again, it's about each individual asking yourself, who am I? Is this me?
Mm.
Why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And is this me? Because we're much, much, much bigger than belief systems, than judgments. Compared to you or I and everyone else, it's actually like a grain of sand.
Mm.
They're thought forms. That's as they're really just thought forms that people give energy to. And then that's where you kind of create chaos in a way because there's so much polarity to it. So you have the good ones, but these are the good ones. No, these are the good ones.
Mm.
And then that's where it's all this perceptive chaos.
Mm.
So it's about asking yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing and who am I?
Right.
Instead of trying to change the world around you, why not taking a look within and asking your entourage, where can I go from here? What would be most complementary? Any situation, see, everyone's going through something that is uncomfortable.
Mm,
Okay, so, well, the ego is, but they are not. But still, so where can I go from here? What would be most complementary? And feeling, dropping your consciousness from in between the eyebrows down into the heart
mhm,
as much as possible.
mm,
Going for a walk, going for a stroll, maybe turning off the phone for a while or
mhm.
not tuning into, because all of that is chaotic energy. It's mass consciousness. It's meant to draw you in,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
believe what we believe. This is our way. Our way is the better way. It's meant to draw people in and to distract you from yourself.
mm, mm.
So bringing in your higher levels and answering the question, who am I? And then when you know, not from the mind, but then when you feel it in your heart, that's when you have unity with everyone else, but most importantly yourself.
Right,
And there's not this contradictory, I believe this, but I believe this, but I believe this, and everything is so scattered.
right, right. That's amazing, and I think that's a really good point just to end on.
Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to say, or do you think we've accomplished what we needed to do?
No, I feel like it's complete.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's brilliant. Megan, it's great to connect again. It's good to see you again, and I hope we can connect again in the future. But thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you,
All
Craig.
right, Megan, thank you so
Bye,
much. I'll
everyone.
see you later. Bye bye.
Yeah.